On the day I returned home from my brother and sister-in-law's wedding preparations, I overheard a conversation that left me in disbelief. It feels so good to steal the spotlight for once, doesn't it?
Didn't I tell you it'd be easy to push our agenda with our older sister? Mom and Dad are on our side too.
From my younger brother's room, their high-pitched laughter echoed. I felt a sudden urge to rush to the bathroom and throw up. Not wanting to show my distress, I hurried to my room. Tears streaming, I whispered, "I'll make them regret this." My brother and sister-in-law don't know yet. They had no idea that the grand wedding they were planning would turn into a disaster by my hands. The season to start sweating has arrived. The warm season, when many brides-to-be emerge, was upon us. Once I would have laughed off old traditions and superstitions, but now, facing them myself, it's tempting to believe. Of course, no one getting married wants to think about divorce. Ideally, they'd want a lifetime of happiness together. Speaking for brides everywhere, I was discussing with my fiance, Ralphie, who to invite. Raylan, Eddie, Marjorie, Christy,
Mark, Kieran, Mr. McSorley, and others.
These names were our top priorities, the ones we absolutely wanted there. Without them, our wedding wouldn't feel complete. Of course, Ralphie had some work acquaintances to invite too. My dream wedding. Something I'd imagined since I was a child. Yet that dream was shattered by a voice from behind. Wait, you're planning your wedding on that day? Looks like we double booked. I turned around to see Lavina, my younger brother's wife, with a wry smile. You knew that was our date, right? Well, Ivan, our parents-in-law, and even your parents gave us the green light. Sorry for stealing your big day. So even my parents sided with her? I knew they always favored my younger brother, but couldn't they celebrate my big day too? I was too drained to respond. Ralphie, let's go.
Alright, but maybe we should at least say goodbye. Never mind. Lavina, please pass our regards to Ivan and the rest.
Sure, will do. Lavina's expression screamed, I knew you'd react this way. With a heavy heart, I left the home I grew up in. 2 weeks had passed since Lavina's unexpected announcement. Every message from my parents via the app darkened my mood further. And now the weekend had come and we had to visit home again. We needed to inform them whether we'd attend Ivan and Lavina's wedding. As I stared at my cell phone, Ralphie handed me a cup of coffee.
Do we really have to go?
I know. Lashing out at Ralphie wouldn't solve anything, but my anger needed an outlet. It wasn't right to take it out on Ralphie. I'm sorry.
We can always reschedule our wedding. Our patience now will pay off in future happiness.
Sometimes it's moments like these that make me realize why I married him. With that thought, we discussed whether or not to attend my younger brother's wedding and came to a decision. The next day, we drove to our parents' home in the suburbs. It's only about an hour-and-a-half drive, so it's not too tiring. When we arrived in the afternoon, our parents greeted us warmly.
It's been a while.
Have you decided? I could sense their expectation that we would attend. Ever since we were kids, it's always been about Ivan, Ivan, Ivan. Knowing their mindset, we decided to avoid any conflict and meet their expectations. "We'll be there," I assured them briefly. Seeing my response, my parents exchanged a look of joy. Their passion for Ivan and Lavina is unmatched. When Ralphie and I discussed our wedding, they even suggested we didn't need a big ceremony. My parents seemed satisfied with my answer. However, we need to stay for a while to discuss the wedding preparations. I told my parents I was heading to my room and entered the house with Ralphie. As we passed by Ivan's room, I overheard, "Your sister is so naive, giving into the wedding day clash."
She never stands up for herself. You get why I said I could easily push my way, right?
Their mocking laughter echoed from the room. The shock almost made me collapse, but I held myself up, not wanting them to notice. That was the only thing that supported my knees, which were about to collapse. Ralphie, sensing my distress,
"Hang in there till we get to the room,"
he whispered. I bit my lip, leaning on him until we reached our room, where I let my tears flow. The weight of regret was overwhelming, and tears streamed down my face without warning. Lying in bed, I remembered what Lavina had said to me that day. "But Ivan, your father-in-law and mother-in-law forgave me. Sorry for stealing your big day." I knew her apology lacked sincerity. Still, out of courtesy, I would have attended the wedding and celebrated with Lavina and her family. But now, I knew a truth I wished I hadn't. How could I celebrate knowing that? After a good cry, I turned to Ralphie, determined. "Ralphie, can you listen?"
"What?"
"I can't ever forgive them." Ralphie's face remained expressionless after hearing my dark feelings. Seeing my anxiety, he offered words that seemed to read my mind.
"You want them to regret it?"
I nodded firmly. Not just my brother and sister-in-law, but I wanted my parents to feel the weight of regret too. I didn't care about family ties anymore. It's all just a mess now. In the living room, my parents and my brother and sister-in-law were discussing the wedding venue. "This place looks good, doesn't it?"
"It's a bit pricey, but it's for Lavina. Let's go with this one."
Once their discussion settled, I joined in. "Why don't we visit the venue now?" Hearing my suggestion, Lavina checked the time and immediately called on her cell phone.
"Are you coming, older sister?"
"I am." We all split into cars, my brother and sister-in-law, my parents, Ralphie, and I, heading to the venue Lavina had chosen. Upon arrival, Lavina was giddy like a child, with Ivan following her with a resigned look. Ralphie and I followed them inside, where Lavina was holding hands with a female planner. "Oh, Riley!" "Lavina, it's been so long. Since college, right?" "Yes, since college." At that moment, I felt something was off with the wedding planner called Riley. Her smile seemed forced, not reaching her eyes, and her voice had a somber tone. Were they really close friends? With these doubts, our family toured the venue with Miss Riley. After the tour and briefing, Lavina turned to Miss Riley, making her decision. "Riley, this place is perfect. Thank you. I'm getting married here." "Really? Let's make it the happiest day." To an outsider, they might seem joyful. However, I suspected that there was a huge gap between them. But I had a hunch, a woman's intuition, that there was a rift between them. Lavina asked,
"You're staying, older sister?"
"Just a bit longer. I want to soak in the atmosphere."
"Suit yourself."
After seeing off my brother and sister-in-law, Ralphie and I approached Miss Riley. Miss Riley, may I have a moment? Is it about the venue? No, it's about your relationship with Lavina. At my words, her cheerful facade dropped, replaced by a disdainful look. Can you share your side of the story, as someone who also holds a grudge? She nodded in agreement to my words. We moved to the cafe terrace, and I heard the story from Miss Riley. Lavina always had a bad track record with men, and seemed to always blame others when things went wrong. Miss Riley herself didn't want to celebrate at the wedding, and candidly expressed her wish to ruin it. Do you have a plan? I'd like to get as many people on board as possible. Can you help? Of course, I'll do whatever I can. With that, I had a powerful ally. I never thought I'd be this involved in just one day. But there's no turning back now. I'll definitely ruin my brother and sister-in-law's wedding. Ah, sister-in-law. Congratulations, best wishes. In her wedding dress, with the help of professionals, Lavina looked even more beautiful than usual. But that beauty would soon crumble. Unaware of what was to come, the wedding went smoothly and the reception began. The reception went off without a hitch, and it was time for the bride to thank her parents. My parents beamed with pride, while Lavina's mother wiped away tears. After the thank you speech, the MC announced the next program.
Next, we have a surprise video message from friends. Please look on the screen.
Curtains on both sides opened, revealing a white screen. After some static, a video of Lavina from her school days appeared. Behind the innocent-looking Lavina was a girl with a torn uniform. Next, a neon-lit bedroom scene played. Whispers and giggles filled the room. What is that? Hey, hey. Ew! What's this?
What's going on, Lavina?
The reception was filled with suppressed laughter and shocked faces. Some guests confronted Lavina. You stole someone's man again? Lavina, this time we won't let it slide. We won't listen to your excuses. I watched the chaotic reception and quietly left through the back door. Looking up at the clear blue sky, I heard the sound of heels approaching. Good job. Thank you for your help. Are you okay? I've already submitted my resignation. Her smile was perfect. If a man in the area saw this smile of hers, he would fall in love with her in an instant. The last video was evidence collected by those who wanted revenge on Lavina with Miss Riley's help. It was a compilation of various incidents involving Lavina. Some of the footage was never shown to anyone. I love the screams. Lavina sure can scream. I'll be leaving now. The footsteps leaving me sounded somehow in good spirits. I headed to the parking lot and greeted Ralphie. Thanks for waiting.
Good job.
We drove home. A year had passed since the disastrous wedding of my brother and sister-in-law. I heard they divorced shortly after. My younger brother, Ivan, was devastated and stayed at our parents' house. Meanwhile, my husband and I cut ties with my family and moved to a new place. Now, we were busy preparing for the wedding we couldn't have a year ago. We just need to send the invitations. There were many invitations on the table, about 100 in total. It felt like too many for just the two of us. But we had waited a year. We deserved to celebrate. I finished my coffee. I need to diet for the dress. I picked up the bag of invitations and another bag with fitness gear and headed outside. The sky was as clear as the day of that wedding.